So you want to tell them how much you fucked up?
What? I mean, yeah, I kind of put this whole recording off for a little while. So yes,
You did.
you were done with it about a week before I was.
I think I was done with it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's all. No offense, man, but that's how long I took. I actually binged like an entire season of Smallville waiting for you.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. Well, that's good. Well, at least I finally. Because the thing is, like, I like binged the first half of the season, got away from it for like a few days. Then I was like, once I got like watched one episode, I watched like 4 or 5, and that's what I did all day. So I was like, okay.
And then you were just falling behind.
Mm-hmm. Well, I knew you wanted to record this soon, so I just sped up, and I also got back into it. So
yeah, because I know you were busy with your own podcast, doing your own articles, which you did post, but you can pimp that out later. But hey everyone, this is Joe from ActionX,
and I'm Sal. How are you guys?
You gotta work on your vocals. I'm kidding. If you're unaware, everyone, welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your third Arrow season review, that's why we're here reviewing, finally.
Season 3, finally in the books for us.
Well, we're not done yet. We just started.
Well, I mean,
I know. When this
season, yes, the season's over.
The season's over. It's been a while for me. When did you wrap up season 3 for you?
A few days ago, I wrapped up the final episode, and another epic final episode for me. Still doesn't quite match up to season 2, but as I stated in the last review, that's kind of my favorite season so far because of Slade Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I went on and on about how great his character was, so
we'll get to that. We'll get to about Raish and the League and all the things that we got to say about season 3. But again, if you're unaware, this is every Arrow season reviewed here on ActionX on What's on the Tube. We are reviewing every Arrow season, unless Stephen Amell makes a season 9, which ironically I'll talk about more in this review. We are reviewing every season of Arrow bi-weekly because sad to say we were very bullish on this endeavor. Plus, some things changed on my end, so we are extending every Arrow season review into 2021. So that means every Arrow review will be coming out every other week. So there'll be a quick impression in between them. So season 4 review will not be next week. It'll be in 2 weeks after that to give me and Sal a little bit more breathing room, more time to like play with like our timetables and see. Eventually we'll go back to every week, but right now it's going to be bi-weekly just to give Sal a little bit of,
it's okay. You're patting my head. You're still my head.
You don't have acne.
That's my head.
You don't have acne on your head. But anyway,
that's my head.
Enough about that. Sal, is Arrow season 3 worth the binge? Is it worth binging all 23 episodes as soon as they wrapped season 2 of Arrow, which by far is still our number 1?
Again, I have to say, like, one of my biggest things about this show has really been so far the flashbacks. Because I forgot how great they were. This obviously progresses
into China.
Into China, into Hong Kong, another year of Oliver in his 5-year journey being away from home. So
here's my question. We're still in the non-spoiler segment, so we can't spoil everything about the China journey if you want to take that route. The thing is that the first 2 seasons of flashbacks paralleled so well with the main story. Like season 1 of the flashback was like Oliver Queen getting his footing on the island, learning to become the badass he is in present day, and then we see the present day Oliver still trying to be the Arrow, the vigilante, the Hood, whatever you want to call it. Season 2's flashback with his relationship with Slade Wilson and how that would affect him in the present, in season 2's present timeline. Season 3 is different. This isn't. I don't think they really. It wasn't a symmetrical thing, as we were used in the first 2 seasons. This was more like once you started getting towards the end of the journey, you start to see the parallel or see where things will end up. So with that being said, did you still enjoy the season 3 flashbacks as a whole, even though like it wasn't really in connection with where we were in the present day story?
Yeah, just because I thought that it really kind of expanded on Oliver's relationships with characters. Obviously it introduced new characters, and you watch very quickly Oliver's relationship with them grow, like completely like kind of flipped mid-season, I would say, between him and the Well, I don't know if I can really spoil the name of the family.
I don't even remember the name of the family. That's how long ago I didn't watch the season. I forgot that. I know one of them becomes Shadow. No, I'm thinking of Stargirl in review. Stargirl review. The character. Oh, Katana. I know one of them becomes Katana from Suicide Squad. I know her. I don't remember their fucking names though. I think if I once we figure out, I'll probably remember their names. But
it is the Yamashiro's Miseo who eventually.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now I remember that. Yes, this is why Sal. The one good thing about you taking so much time is that you fucking remember more things than me in terms of.
Yeah, I have a knack for remembering the little details, and then sometimes the big plot just kind of gets away from me.
But that's on me. I got that for you. So
yeah,
it works out.
Yep, slam dunk.
So so now with the present day storyline, did you again? We're being very nuanced, but there's a lot I want to talk about. Spoilers, so we might just bum rush the non-spoiler segment. But in terms of the present day storyline, did you enjoy it? Bare bones. Did you enjoy it, or did you kind of like see like the cracks that's starting to show with this show?
No, I really, honestly, I kind of did. I really enjoyed it just from, another, powerful group that Oliver Queen has to go up against. Every group, everything like big bad that he's gone up against so far has really been, with maybe the exception of Malcolm Merlin, the Dark Archer, of course, in season 1. I really, because with that, I was thinking like, okay, there's no chance that this is like your typical Dark Archer gets over on Oliver Queen, but then Oliver Queen beats him at the end. Mm-hmm. With Slade Wilson and Season 3's Big Bad, I really thought, how is Oliver Queen going to...
beat them?
Yeah, beat them and get around them. Something, it's almost an impossible to win battle for Oliver in Seasons 2 and 3. Obviously, him being the hero, and this only being Season 3, you expect him to come out on top. But now with Season 3, especially now, with everything that Oliver went up against, he
was not prepared for the League.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Actually, I won't spoil that last part. I'll hold that last sentence
when we get to the spoiler. Yeah. Because for me, I felt I think one of I have no glasses on. Is one of the light bulbs out for that one? I can't tell.
No, I think it's good.
Okay, yeah, I'm out my glasses. It's bothering me, but well, okay, whatever. I feel like Season 3 is more as a sequel. Like the show should progress with the story. Like they should build off the last season. I feel like Season 3 relied a lot more on Season 1 than Season 2. I feel like Season 1 was definitely Season 3 was more picking up connection threads and following up more stuff we saw and heard in Season 1. Where it was like the Merlin coming back, because John Barrymore does return, thankfully. He returns for most of the season. And he's kind of like it's kind of weird how things are like set in motion. And again, I'm being very vague about this. Like the way they set up the conflict of how like, okay, this leads into this and this into this. And it's like, it kind of makes sense, but I'm like, that's kind of a really long steep for them to like, again, I'll explain more of those in the spoiler section, but when Season 3 started, and then they did that thing, and I'm like, oof, why? Why do that? Why do that to such a fan-favorite character? And it's like, okay, this makes sense, okay, that does make sense, but it's like, it's all kind of like, it's really stretching where Season 2, Slade just wanted revenge on Oliver for what he did. That's a very simple, like, A to B. Mm-hmm. This one was like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know what I mean? Like there was like a lot of steps.
Yeah, there was like a lot more to the story. Again, I like the Slade character. That's why I liked Season 2. But this was, like I said, all the complicated, all the complications in Season 3 are what made me like think about Oliver. Like he can't win this season
without making some sacrifices.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you come to realize, I'll save this for the non-spoiler section too, but I'll say this. There are 3 characters that I thought really stood out this season, that really kind of took, not center stage in this show, but I think got like a a more important, like, here they are.
Moments.
Yeah, here they are moments. One of them being Roy Harper.
Oh yeah, definitely stands out. This like
Mm-hmm.
yes, because he really stepped up his game this season. I'll say that, but we'll get to more.
Absolutely. And then obviously I've been saying it since season 1. Thea Queen got an even bigger role than she got in season 2. So her role just keeps expanding, as you would probably expect
In season 3.
in season 3. And then Felicity Smoke,
For better or worse.
for better or worse, took more of a center stage in this season. I really thought that she did, the character, obviously you knew the character was important, being one of Oliver's 2 best friends, and obviously
Something more.
really, yeah, something more, and the engine that really keeps Team Arrow running, because I don't know how well John Diggle and Oliver Queen
Would have done without her.
yeah, especially with the computer and all the tech. So I really thought they did a nice job with Felicity here. John Diggle, like, he didn't really, like, he got his moments, but you also I felt like you already knew how important he was, being Oliver's, really his conscience,
Yeah,
and, his right-hand man, even though he doesn't have the training that Oliver has, but he's got his own training in the army.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool parallel between the two guys. 2 completely different trainings for battle.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's more apparent when we get to the later, like when we were reaching the climax. You definitely got to see their style start to they're really standing out in a good way, but also in like a negatory way for the characters, not for like us as viewers. But to kind of like wrap it up for me, in the non-spoiler section, I enjoyed season 3 more than I anticipated, because I feel like it was like when critics are like season 1 was really good, season 2 was great, and then you start to steep off from there for a bit till we get to season 5. I will say this: there is a little bit of a decline in season 3. You can't ignore that, but it's not as bad as people like pick it out to be. I think it has some problems, but I don't think it's that. It's not bad. It's not great. It's like season 2, but it's not bad. It's like in that in between zone. Like it's not. It's weird to say without getting into spoilers, but so for me, I would recommend binging it because I'm on the high of Arrow, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll keep going. But beyond that, like it's still it's good. It's good.
No, I definitely agree. It kind of for me starts off a little bit like slow. I don't know, just something about it like really kind of disinterests me, which is why I kind of got off it for a few days, and then just kind of came back to it. And as you would kind of expect, towards the end of the season, it's kind of like the better half.
Yeah.
But there was something about season 3 that really like it didn't pull me in as much as I would have liked to, despite the fact of what ends up happening in the season.
It still didn't like push you to like go more fast to the finish. It was like, okay, I'm going to the finish, but I'm gonna take my pace.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's most cases with anything with number 3 really. I don't know why it's weird. So yeah, that's kind of so what you would okay. So you would, on a very simple scale, you would recommend the season.
I would recommend the season. I would recommend the binge, but hopefully it won't lose you guys as much as it lost me. Because like definitely the back half of the season is awesome. It's full of action as you kind of expect in Arrow, but it's full of also a great story, and that great story kind of picks up in the latter half of the season. But the first half was kind of like not really great, despite the fact that in the non-spoiler section, or in the spoiler section, we're going to talk about both the beginning and what the big power move that I kind of thought happened in Arrow season 3.
All right. So with that being said, everyone, that's what we thought of a non-spoiler treatment. Sorry, we're being very vague. There's just so much I want to say, and Sal too, and it was just okay. So for me, again, there you go. If you want to go figure out what the hell we're talking about, go binge or watch Arrow season 3 on Netflix right now before HBO Max probably gobbles them up in the near future. Binge it all. We're about to jump into spoiler territory, so if you have not seen Arrow season 3. Turn away, go watch all 23 hours, binge it, watch it, whatever, and then come back to this segment, and then we're going to go all out. So ready? Go watch it now. 3, 2, One. That was a very stupid decision to kill Sarah.
Yeah.
That was a fucking stupid ass decision.
It definitely threw me for a loop, especially with she kind of just got back. Like, you kind of just got used to the character.
Yeah, she was the breakout star of season 2.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, it was kind of a shock to see her get killed off that early, but...
Did you hate the pronoun game when we got to the end of the end of episode 1? She's like, hey, what are you doing here? Hey, Thea, why are you here? It's annoying because, yes, as we progress through the, like, why did Thea do this and why did Malcolm do this, I get that, but why Sarah? Like, I know it makes sense, but it's like, there had to be another way to, like, you know, and it's also complicated. Like, do you want to just go through the whole big bad plan for the season before we continue, or?
Yeah, sure, we could do that.
So, this whole season basically was Malcolm's fault. It wasn't, because so Malcolm is being hunted down by the league for screwing up the season 1 plan. I think, was that the reason why? Because he screwed up the events of season 1. Was that the reason why he was hunted, or was it because he faked his death?
I think it's because he faked his death and kind of left the league.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So but he needs to get exonerated because he knows eventually the league's gonna get him. Raisha's gonna kill him. So it's like, okay, how do I get Raisha? I can't beat Raish, but I know who could beat Raish: Oliver Queen. So it's like, okay, how do I get Oliver to get in conflict with the league? He's not gonna do it like, oh, hey, dude, why don't you go after the league? Like, well, they're not gonna do anything to Starling City. There's nothing on their radar. It's like, oh, wait a minute, season 2 event, Sarah's back in it, and who's who's also sleeping with the daughter of the league's head, Sarah. But I can't kill her because I don't want that. I need to find a way for Oliver to, because if Malcolm killed Sarah, Oliver wouldn't give a fuck. Well, he wouldn't give a fuck if something happened to Malcolm. But it was Thea, who he just got back into contact with. It's like, oh, then there you go. There's the connection. Like, so when Oliver finds out, he's gonna want to defend Thea because of course, obviously, Nissa would have been like, Daddy, she killed my girlfriend. Please kill her. And Oliver's like, no, she's my sister. And then there you go. Like, so either Oliver dies, so gets rid of Malcolm's biggest enemy, or Oliver kills Rosh and all the blood deaths are exonerated. I feel like that point was fine, that slope. I think when Raish took over as the villain was kind of like, I don't think Raish was like a villain, to be honest with you. He was just following traditions. If you want to be honest. Was he really a villain? Like, yes, he is a villain. He did fight our hero. But he wasn't doing it like out of evil. And I'm not trying to sound like, oh, I'm a League supporter. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying, like, he never targeted Starling City because, oh, hey, I want to destroy them because I want to destroy them. It's not that simple of a task. He picked Oliver to be his successor, which is fine. And he's like, okay, you got to do all these traditions. You got to train. You got to pass these trials. And then eventually you have to destroy your home city to kind of destroy your previous life. Those are like more of a traditional sense. But then I think it kind of got off the rails when Raish said, fuck it, I'm going to, like, we're really at the end of season 3, we're going to backtrack. But when we get to the end of season 3, when he's like, fuck you, I'm going to destroy your city for no reason, because YOLO. And that's kind of where it lost me, like, I don't think Raish was, like, that great of a villain. I think he did it, I think the character was done correctly, but I don't think he was a villainous character, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he was kind of just trying to kind of continue the legacy of Ra's al Ghul. So, exactly. So yeah, for him.
What was that? No, I guess talk. I'm just pouring my tea.
Yeah. Yeah, for him, it was really, especially after him and Oliver fought, and, you know, obviously Oliver survives.
Somehow.
You know, Ra's kind of gets that sense of, I don't know if it's respect for Oliver, but I definitely get what you mean, where he's not like despite being called the Demon's Head, and, you know, obviously responsible for a lot of deaths as the leader of the League of Assassins, but with Oliver Queen, it's kind of like, I don't know how to say it. Like,
there wasn't a sense of conflict.
There wasn't really a sense of conflict. He kind of grew respect for Oliver, hence why he picked Oliver as his successor over his own daughter, which kind of creates another conflict between him and Nissa. Nissa is one of my favorite characters, by the way. Obviously, super tough. It was cool because you see her as the bad guy, which she obviously is responsible for a lot of deaths, but at the same time, you also see her as a good guy. She helps Oliver with Slade Wilson's army. She is not entirely, and as you see, like during the season, she becomes more better friends with Laurel over Sarah's death.
Yeah, they were bonding, and she was kind of like a mentor figure to her in terms of like the second half.
Yeah, so but in terms of Ra's al Ghul, he never really had evil intentions by selecting Oliver as his successor. He actually did really want to train Oliver to be his successor, but through training Oliver, obviously being a member of the League of Assassins, you saw it with Masao Yamashiro, Oliver's old friend from the flashbacks.
Who comes back.
Who comes back as part of the League of Assassins, as he claims because he was too weak
to save his own son. Okay, let's talk. Can we? Let's brief aside the China flashback. The way it ended, like the son died. It's like, fuck, they just killed off the kid, and I like this kid. He was so adorable, and I'm like, fuck, they killed him.
Yeah, but I gotta be honest. That needed to happen for the story to kind of progress, because that kind of causes or not that it causes it, but it's the beginning of the split between Tatsu. I think that was her name, right? Tatsu.
Masao and Tatsu.
Yeah. So, obviously Masao gives in and joins the League of Assassins, and then so him and Tatsu are kind of separated, and only because, imagine if Akio was still alive, like that would kind of like, where would he go? There's honestly, I think they killed him off because number one, it's a bold move killing off a kid, especially in the fashion that happened, blood pouring out of his mouth.
You assume like he would be the one to be safe. Because he's a kid, like, no, they're not. The CW's not gonna kill a kid off. Come on, and then like, they kill him. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, but the biggest part of that was there was no other like role or story for him.
But he was the cute guy. I mean, it's like the guy. It's like the like Baby Yoda. You don't kill off Baby Yoda. I know it's like the worst analogy to say. It's like, I don't know, like when you get that cute like this symbol of like, hey, here's a kid. He's like the pure heart, of the show, of the season, and then you kill him off. It's like, fuck, this show holds nothing back.
Yeah, but also that gave Oliver, in the flashback, really not his first, but like the first act, really the first act for me where I was like, what the, like I kind of wasn't expecting it when he kills the general, who essentially got them into that whole mess.
Yeah, he deserved it, to be honest. He deserved it.
I thought he did too, but obviously Tatsu and Masao felt differently. Obviously, being Akio's parents, you would expect them to be trying to kill this guy.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. If someone does it to my kid, I'm like, no, you're dead. You can't talk me out of it. I don't care. You're dead. I mean, if this is somehow my confession tape, take it as you will. I'm sorry, future Joe in 20 years. But anyway, no, you're right on that. But anyway, to get back to the race stuff, I don't think he was much of a bad guy. Yeah, to kind of go back to your point, like I think he just had noble intentions following his traditions, but it was kind of like a really far jump at the very end. It's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna destroy your city for the fucks of it.
Well, he did that for the reason he was trying to eliminate Oliver Queen, like for the League of Assassins name that I'm forgetting. I remember Masao's was Sarai.
It's your name is El Sabor El. I know it's like it's their languages for the arrow.
I think it ends with El Sahim.
I think it's like you're El Sahim. I think that's it.
Yeah,
I know there's like there's an episode title about it. So
yeah, but he was trying to, and kind of the last part of Oliver technically eliminating Oliver Queen. Obviously Oliver locked up his friends Diggle, Felicity, Malcolm Merlin, who tried to turn them in
again.
Who tried to turn them in?
Malcolm's such a wily motherfucker. Like he's always trying to find a way out. It's like, oh, he's in a corner, he finds a way out. He's in a corner, he finds a way out. Like I gotta give John Barrymore that credit. I gotta give him that credit. But no, yeah, you're right. You're right that it's weird the way they do it. It's weird. But I still like. I don't know. I still can't get over like the very ending of it because like, Oliver was never going to like become like once it's realized like, oh, I'm not going to become this like, you know, the Arrow in a methodical sense. I wasn't going to be that for you. I wasn't going to be the next Ra's al Ghul. I was just doing it to try and kill you. But I can never get over like that last inch of like Ra's just suddenly said, fuck, I'm just going to be a bad guy and just destroy a city for no reason. It's going to accomplish nothing. You're just going to kill millions of people for nothing. And I know, yes, they do that, but still. I don't know.
The idea of it, like I said, Oliver locked his friends up in a gas chamber. The idea of destroying Starling City was to eliminate Oliver's kind of his last love and connection to Oliver Queen, which was his home. Obviously, if he doesn't
join him,
if he cares enough to run around the city and try and filter out the bad guys by doing what he does as the Arrow. So that's kind of why, but it also rang such a bell with Oliver because he's seen that drug before. Obviously.
The Omega. Yeah, that's the Omega Alpha. Is it? Is Alpha Omega?
Alpha Omega.
Alpha Omega.
So obviously, and there were points in this where I thought, like, because I wanted to. Ooh, that was close. But that I wanted to believe that Oliver, it was all part of Oliver's plan.
And it was, thankfully.
But when he kidnapped Lila, I was like, that's bold. That's literally bold. You went into the guy's the right hand end.
That I get.
Yeah.
That I get because like Ra's al Ghul, one of the most notoriously difficult people to gain the trust. Especially if like, oh, you're a hero, you're gonna try and save the day. Like, of course he was gonna be like, I got my eye on you, kid. I got my eye on you. But I don't know. It's just that makes sense, and that's kind of like going back to Diggle this season, where I think Diggle took a little bit of a step back. If you know what I mean, he did take a little bit of a step back. I mean, the first half was mainly him and Lila having a kid, him and Lila getting married, and then it was just Diggle having I don't know how many episodes it was, like just having like a conflict with Oliver because of his decisions, like the sacrifices he needed to take to defeat Ra's. And it's weird because I'm watching a couple other shows that are kind of similar, where it's like, why do you have to do it this way? Why hurting the people you care about? There's got to be another way, and sometimes maybe there isn't another way, or maybe there is another way. Who knows? I mean, the one thing about this being an established universe, an Arrowverse, is you have the Flash. Why couldn't the Flash just like, can you take care of Ra's al Ghul for me? Just like catch him, put him in a cage or something. They could have done that, that.
Well, I mean, they asked Barry to get involved, and
can we talk about how stupid that was? Like, it was cool. Like, I feel like Arrow got the back burner of that, like not the crossover, but like the finale crossover. Where you watch I know you told me last review, like you're rewatching The Flash, right? Just for like your own watch, not for anything we're doing, just for the sake of like, you're curious again. When you got to that Flash episode where Arrow showed up, like it made sense for him to be there, right?
Which
the finale, like the final battle with Flash, Firestorm, and Arrow versus Reverse Flash. It made sense for why Barry called them. It made sense. Yes, it made sense why Barry was in Arrow's finale, to kind of like, oh, I'm going to get you out of this situation, but by the way, he said like, oh, I don't want to help you because I got to have a talk with Harrison Wells. A city's about to die. Can you not wait a night to not talk to Harrison Wells?
Yeah, I mean, he is literally the fastest man alive.
Exactly. You could just like, okay, I'm going to take you all back to Starling City. We're going to somehow get on the plane, stop Ra's, save the day. Then I'll go back to Central City. It literally does not take that long. And that's the one problem that I have with the Flash. That's why I don't want to really talk about the crossovers that much. Because, like, it doesn't make sense in a regular, like, if it's not like a serious, if it's not like a funny moment, like, they're crossing paths briefly, that's fine. But when it comes to, like, plot related, like, dude, he's the fastest man alive. He can, the conversation can wait. It can wait. I know, yes, it has to be Team Arrow who has to solve their problems. I get that. So don't put the Flash in there. Like, thankfully, they won't do this again with future finales, from what I remember. They won't do that. But I'm just saying, it just doesn't make... for me, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean...
It's cool. but doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously, like, why would Barry say no? And it's such a lame excuse. Oh, I have to go talk to somebody.
Right
He's gotta
now.
talk to somebody right now.
Because he's that impatient, even though millions of people could die.
Oh, Bartholomew.
Yeah, thank
He's
God.
still, at this point, I forget what point of the season they're up to. And
No, they were right up to the finale.
Oh.
So that's the weird thing about the timetable. We'll get back to the show. I want to talk to you about this because you are watching the Flash stuff, so you can remind me. So Oliver had time to go from Nana Parbat to Central City to help the Flash, and to go all the way back to Nana Parbat just for his marriage ceremony to get the final plans in order to take down Ra's al Ghul. He had to get all that straightened out in such a perfect fashion. God, what does his schedule look like? I found it was still cool, like, get them all connected, but still was like very. I felt sorry for Oliver. He probably got like the short end of that stick, but at least that's in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to the ad show. Let's go back to the beginning because we got jumped straight over. We're skipping over so many other parts. So we haven't talked about the new guy in the group, the Atom, Ray Palmer. I really dig him. Brandon Routh, such a great addition to the Arrowverse.
Mm-hmm. I didn't love him at first only because I was like, why are you buying the guy's company? Seriously. Like, I get it from a business standpoint, but it was kind of sad for me to see Oliver lose his business and Ray Palmer kind of be a dick about it.
It's like, I'm gonna turn the Q to a P.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even. That wasn't a sexual joke. I was trying to make it to a sexual joke, but I couldn't make it work. I thought it was I think that was the end of Queen Consolidated, right? Like the end of like their story. Well, their story involvement. Now it's this Palmer Tech. I feel like that was fine because like what more could you do with Queen's Consolidated? There wasn't really much you can do more with it, to be honest.
Well, obviously, as you saw when Oliver had, I forget her name now, but the lady that was his VP at Queen Consolidated from season 2.
Oh, Isabella
Rochev. Obviously, she was the brains and the businesswoman.
And then she got killed off by a League of Assassin member, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Oliver he doesn't really have the qualifications to run that type of a business, anyways. So I mean, it made a lot of sense for Ray Palmer to take over and for the business to kind of take that next step. But for me, obviously Oliver losing his family business and just completely going broke was kind of like, not really like rock bottom, but it was definitely a low point for him that it was kind of sad to see him go through.
Well, yeah, no, you're right. But how did he get paid? That's the thing. Like, how did he get his money then in season 3? Because he wasn't working at Queens because that's what shut down. The bar was technically under. I think Thea bought it back, right? She bought it back.
I think she ends up buying it back. Yeah.
And he doesn't have another job, so how does he? Who's paying him? Like, he took out Felicity to that very fancy date in the premiere. Like, who's paying this? I'm just confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, you got this whole thing about him being, broke, and then now
he just takes Felicity on a very fancy date. That's pretty sure that has caviar and whatever the fuck other French cuisine is. I don't fucking know. I haven't taken anyone on a date, but anyway, no, I just don't. I legitimately don't know how the fuck he got paid.
Well, maybe off screen he found like
part-time work,
$100 on the ground and said, "Dinner's on me."
I would love to hug Oliver during the season. Like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You used to be rich.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. I'm so sorry. I mean, I think they rectify his money issue next season, I think. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know why we're talking about this. How are we still in the first half? I love doing this, but like, how the fuck are we still in the first half? We haven't even got to the crossover yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Atom. I thought he was a nice addition. To kind of have like another romantic rival in Oliver's footstep. Because what did you think about the whole Oliver Felicity, like the decision of like at the end of the premiere to be like, I can't date you if I'm the Arrow. I won't have time. But in stupidity, he kind of led her into Ray's arms. Did you forget about that?
What?
Where did I lose you?
Oh.
Were you not paying attention?
No, I was, but I honestly can't remember that part.
What, Ray screwing Felicity?
What?
They had sex.
No, I did not.
Yes, they did.
I'm pretty sure. No,
I think it was
forgot
just
after.
shortly after Oliver came back from his resurrection. When he just came back, they had an argument, and then Felicity was for some reason at Palmer Tech, where he was working on something. He took a shower, and she was like, "Fuck it."
Oh, Ray. Oh, I thought you said Ray's Al Ghul. I was like, what?
No, Ray
Palmer. Yeah, of
yes,
course.
we were just
Yeah, the
talking about.
romance-
We were just talking about Ray Palmer.
See, that's when he started dating Felicity. Was when I started saying, okay, I'm really starting to like this character because Felicity had some mean things to say to him, and he was like,
Winning her.
I
over.
thought he kind of really stayed calm despite everything she said to him. I think she brought up his dead wife at one point.
She did,
and
yeah.
although he did scold her, it was a lot. I thought he handled it pretty damn well, considering what most other people would have done.
Yeah.
You really lost me there.
Not Ray.
Ray
They should
Palmer.
have. They should have really not introduced two characters that literally almost the same, almost the same name formation. I don't know, but no, I felt like him as the Atom was pretty cool to kind of let's add tech to this world. Let's put an Iron Man-esque character into this world. Not to be another RGJ Iron Man clone. I'm not saying that at all, but just trying to expand the horizon with this universe, because we got the Flash, now we have the Atom. Actually, side note, would you have preferred getting an Atom spinoff over Legends, or no? Do you think?
I liked Legends of Tomorrow. It really took a bunch of sidekicks and kind of propelled them and gave them the screen time that they weren't going to get on their regular shows, especially Kid Flash.
For the brief bit.
Yeah, for the brief bit, yeah. I thought, because he obviously gets left in Barry's shadow a lot, on the Flash. He becomes important for a little while, then I think his importance kind of declines until he joins the Legends of Tomorrow for a little bit.
And then he leaves again.
Yeah. Well,
I feel sorry for hashtag Kid Flash deserves better. He really does. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Because I think it was early in negotiations, because they were considering why don't we do an Atom spinoff? But then they said, no, let's just combine all the sidekicks together to their one show, and it worked somehow. It worked. I'll say that. Where was I gonna go with there? Okay, I said before we won't talk about crossovers, because I think when we come back with next year's crossover, it kind of gets it's its own standalone thing. At the end of it, it's not really contributing to the larger story. But this one was it's only it's not really a real crossover. It's more the characters from the Flash show. Did you like that? Just the simple Flash cast shows up to the Starling City. Did you like that episode?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Felicity has the early connection with Cisco and Caitlin, so it's kind of, I always loved, whatever reason, I'm more drawn to, the Flash cast on Arrow, because I'm you guys aren't supposed to be there, and the same thing goes for Arrow when they go to Central City.
Yeah, it's not used to it.
Yeah, seeing Oliver sitting at Jitters, I think in, the very first crossover between Arrow and Flash, it was, Flash Season 1. Seeing Oliver sitting at Jitters, it just looked really unnatural, because obviously that's not his regular setting.
Yeah.
Central City's a bit... Obviously, they're dealing with different issues. Oliver, Starling City's more about, crooks, and obviously Barry Allen is dealing with metahumans in Central City, so superpowers. So, they kind of have to go about things differently, so it's a different dynamic of each city.
Mm-hmm.
To see each one of them go into each other's city, I'm they look very out of place, despite the fact that they're both heroes.
But it was a fun, thing to play with.
Yeah.
But you're right. But talking about Flash going to Arrowland, let's call it, it was fun. It was by far a very fun crossover. Sure, Captain Boomerang, not the most notable crossover villain ever of the bunch. Mm-hmm. Which, fun fact, have you started watching Stargirl yet, or is it still on your list for later on?
On my list for later on.
You will see Captain Boomerang's actor again.
Oh.
He will be playing a villain in season 2 of Stargirl. Can't wait. He deserves... I don't think he did a very good Captain Boomerang. I think Jack Courtney does a better job in the movies, in my opinion. But he's going to play a new villain in Stargirl, and I can't wait. But that'll be in the Stargirl reviews. But anyway, I enjoyed that crossover. I think that crossover was very simplistic, very it's just Barry teaching Oliver a lesson, kind of like tone it back a little bit, just like a little bit, just like a little bit, just like a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little, because I saw Barry's face when he was like trying to like interrogate the dude, and Oliver was like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
That was just so fun, just seeing that reaction, because like you said, like he felt so out of place here. This is not like more of like a jokey Central City. This is more like a serious, brooding Starling City.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely that was right. But dude, I can't. I don't know how I went this long without talking about it, but I have to tell you this. Do you remember the mid-season finale fight on the cliff? Oliver versus Raish for the first time.
Oh yeah,
Dude, I am so mixed about that fight.
I was just like, I didn't expect Oliver to win. I didn't expect him to be so bold as to kill him. Kill him. And I got Black Panther vibes from that.
When Killmonger kind of like defeats him and throws him off the weird ocean. I don't fucking know what they call it. I know, but I know what you meant. And now that you reminded that, it kind of does remind me of that a little bit. Mm-hmm. You think the main character died? I was like, oh, he's somehow miraculously alive because plot armor.
Black Panther, the shot was a little better though, because you got the shot of T'Challa
falling.
Not only that, but you got him like up against the cliff, like, and you're like, is he gonna fall? And so you're on the edge of your seat, and then he falls, and you're like, oh boy,
fuck.
Yeah.
Damn. No, you're actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you are right on that. But nothing. The way they ended it was like kind of like, obviously cliffhanger-ish. I get that. Well, no pun intended. Mm-hmm.
You know what the difference was? I'm sorry to cut you off there, but between the two, in Black Panther, I was like, okay, he's definitely not dead. He's coming back. Mm-hmm. With Arrow, for a split second, I was like, okay, so what do they do without Oliver now? I'm like, he's done.
It's not the first time they're gonna bring that up. It's not the first time, but yeah, you're right. Like, how do they continue the show without, is Diggle gonna be Arrow now? Who knows? And yeah, because that was actually a smart move to do in the sense of airing it, because like you're going into winter break, you're off for a month, so of course fans are like curious, like, I gotta wait a whole month to figure out did Oliver die or not. That's kind of fucked up, but it's like it kind of made you enticed to come back in January when it was airing, so that was smart on their part. But my problem with that fight scene is that if you're watching it like a straightforward, like right now, like, no pausing, no anything, like looking at every specific move, it's a perfectly good fight. It really is. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying it's bad at all. But when you're constantly pausing it, like I did, because like, wow, this is such a cool fight scene. I want to analyze the choreograph of it. And I noticed, like, wow, they clearly use a stunt double. It's not even funny. Mm-hmm. No, dude, I'm being completely fucking honest. I'm not trying to, like, here's the thing. Stunt actors, stunt doubles, you guys are doing amazing jobs. But there's a difference when the camera crew has to somehow do it correctly, that you won't notice, like, this is Ra's al Ghul. When I'm watching that fight scene, I notice, here's Ra's al Ghul when you see his face. Then when you just like see him, like, can you turn your head like a little? When you see the side profile, you think it's Ra's al Ghul. But then the problem is, like, whoever the stunt guy was, the problem is, like, Ra's beard. Stupid thing. His beard doesn't connect. Mm-hmm. Then on the stunt guy, he has a full beard. Mm-hmm. I noticed that, and that stood out like a sore thumb. I could not get into that fight scene after that.
I didn't, because I was so interested in, okay, where are those swords going? Obviously, Oliver, a guy who uses arrows in his fist, so for him to be using a sword,
it's not in his foreplay.
He was so out of his element.
He did the best. He really went far. According to Raish, he went the farthest, that anyone's ever done. And yes, does that include Batman? Yes, it does. Because, yes, apparently Batman did fight Ra's al Ghul at some point. Oh, you didn't watch Batwoman?
I have not watched Batwoman, but...
Well, sorry about that, man. Sorry. But
no, that's a cool connection to know going in.
Yeah, because Batman fought against Raish and Talia, future character. I know we said no future spoilers, but Talia will be showing up on the show in about, if everything goes right, in about a month. But, no, but yeah, that fight scene in terms of, like, they did such a great job choreographing. I just didn't like the way they, like, shot with the stunt double. I really didn't. That's a very nitpicky moment. But, so when we came back after the break, and we had that weird Brickwell 3-parter, Was that a nice break for you? Like kind of like get you to kind of calm down a bit with Brick as the main villain for a while, or did you find him to be annoying like I did?
No, I definitely think you needed a little bit of a break before Ra's al Ghul kind of came back into the fold. Obviously, and then at that point, Ra's is kind of not really a villain, but just looking to pass on his traditions. He never really tells Oliver, like, okay, you will run this like I did. Like, you will be Ra's al Ghul just like me. He wanted Oliver, he never told Oliver what to do necessarily.
I don't even think he knew what he wanted to do yet. Because I think when we got to the mid-season finale fight, it was just, okay, you're going against me. You want to defend your sister. You want to defend this man. Fine. I'm just going to kill you. It's as simple as that. Simple, point blank, day in, day out. But then, yeah, when we come back and when Oliver reveals himself, yeah, no, I'm alive. I'm over here. I'm still kicking. And it's like, oh, you survived my blade. You shall be my successor. Sorry, that was a very horrible Ra's al Ghul accent. I'm sorry. But before we continue with Breakwell, did you know, for a brief moment, a very brief moment, Liam Neeson almost reprised his role as Ra's al Ghul?
Did it really?
Okay. Not almost, but like he did an interview when they confirmed like, oh, Ra's al Ghul is coming to Arrow. And then someone asked him, would you like to be Ra's al Ghul? And he's like, of course, I would love to come back. Even on a very limited budget, very smaller paid, non-blockbuster show. Like, I would have loved to do it. So they asked him, like, oh, do you want to do this? Like, oh, yeah, when's your schedule? It's like, well, we're filming from August to March. He's like, ooh, I'm sorry, I'm doing a movie. Sorry.
Ooh.
So close. So close. I mean, it would have been, like, very, like, flipping the eye because, like, okay, so they got a Superman to be the Atom. Now you want to get a Batman villain to play an Arrow villain. I mean, no offense. I know it has happened. I'm pretty sure, but it would have been cool to get Liam Neeson to kind of continue to be Ra's al Ghul again. It would have been cool, in my opinion. But I think I forgot the name of the actor. I think it's John Nabel or something. But I know you don't probably know, like the actor who played Ra's al Ghul. I think he did just on a base performance. Like I think he did a fine job as Ra's al Ghul. He was average. Not the best, but he did the job.
He wasn't... I don't know if it's just the way the character was written, but he wasn't as intimidating as somebody you would feel, like, from the League of Assassins. And maybe it's because he was actually, like, so old, like...
The actor wasn't that old. He was only in his mid-50s.
Well, no, I'm talking about, like, the character himself.
Oh.
Just something about him, like, there was no aggression from a guy who's the leader of the League of Assassins.
Oh, you mean his facial expression?
Yeah, like his facial expressions and just some of the things that he does. He kind of just sits there. And I really expected more of an evil side of him. And you never really see that till the end.
Even the end, like, I don't even see that either. I think he just seems like a wounded pack dog by the end of it. I think that's in my opinion. Because the thing about this Ra's al Ghul is like, yeah, you're right. Because facial expression, Malcolm was like a snidey, cocky villain. Slade Wilson was like, you saw his face, like, fuck, you do not want to mess with this motherfucker. This man will probably rip your arms off. I look at Ra's, he's like doing this like the whole time. I'm gonna try to do my best Ra's impression. Something like that. It's like, it's not really giving me the vibe of like, you're the big bad. You're the big threat that Oliver needs to be. He was quivering for a moment. He was. That's not what happened, but I don't know, like, it was just something, like, it just, like, you're right, he never really sold me as, like, you are intimidating, I should be scared of you, compared to, again, Slade Wilson. He's not, he wasn't that, you shouldn't be scared of him. You should fear him, but you're not scared of him. He doesn't have the intimidation. At least that's what I noticed. But, okay, going back to Brickwell. What'd you like of the Brickwell guy? Did you think he was like a good villain, or he was like okay, he's fine?
Yeah,
the bald guy.
I don't know.
The bald guy, the bald guy who has like, I don't know if he has superpowers. He's just like very durable. Like I forgot his power. I think he does have superpowers in the comics, but I think in the Arrow version he's just like a very tough dude.
Yeah, I mean honestly, it was a necessary like kind of like little break. From Ra's al Ghul, but at the same time, obviously not a very memorable villain. So, I mean, for as much as he was, like, as much screen time as he was given, I guess it's okay. Like, it's kind of like a transition, like a fill-in villain for a little while, but again, nothing too memorable about, like, the character himself.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see him again. He will come back, but I think he did it. I think his purpose was just to get Malcolm on the same book as Team Arrow, with the whole like revelation that also Malcolm had his own flashbacks for an episode where we found out why Malcolm, his side of like how his wife died, how he joined the League, and it turns out Brick was the one who killed his wife, which I felt like that was like a kind of a cheap copping, like just fill in. I get that, I understood that, but I don't know. I don't know. They did a lot of flashbacks for other characters this season. Because Felicity had one in episode 5. Like, I know we're trading by like the secret origins, the origins. I forgot what it was of Felicity Smoke.
Yeah, I really like that.
I wasn't really a big fan of that. Like, I knew they was trying to like give more Felicity attention, but I don't know. I didn't like it.
It was something I kind of didn't expect. So I guess it did its job. Like, you kind of would never have expected like Felicity was like that in college, but
here's the. No, yeah, you're right, but...
Well, I'm glad that didn't go on my camera.
I spilled hot tea on my pants. It's like I peed my pants. I didn't pee my pants, don't worry. That's Sal talking about how weird Felicity's black hair to blonde hair was while I'm sipping my tea.
Yeah. And just that whole episode with... again, this is kind of what I talked about earlier with Felicity kind of being one of the 3 characters that kind of gets a big boost from this season. Felicity's probably the biggest one because, like, Thea, you could see her role kind of growing, and, like, you knew Roy was going to be, I wasn't sure about Roy actually, but Felicity being one of the main characters, like, obviously Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity. I thought with the whole Floyd Lawton story, that kind of established Diggle. So Felicity was the next one to be established. So you had the conflict with her mother, her background
as a hacker.
Yeah, in which she created. I guess it was
it was a virus, like a weird, like super virus that was able to be taken down in one episode. But whatever.
Yeah.
How'd you think of Felicity's mama, the big Donna? Did you like her? Because you're gonna get more of her. Sad to say.
I mean, obviously she proved, when Felicity needed her, she proved to be there for her. So, I like the dynamic where it was Felicity the hacker, but her mother's kind of a bit of, like, out there.
A party girl.
Yeah, kind of a party girl. But, again, someone who bears down when Felicity really needed her. And which, obviously, you saw... Felicity not only end, like, her past... I don't know if I want to say demons, but, like, her whole college and, like, the ex-boyfriend. And then, obviously, the relationship with her mother. It was nice to see that kind of resolved. Something you would expect, like, your typical, like, mother and, parent and child, like, don't, disagree. The child finally coming out and saying, this is the way you raised me and I didn't love it. And then them finally making up. It's kind of something you see on a lot of TV shows. But, I really did like how this one was done with Felicity. And I really did enjoy that they gave her own episode.
You're right. I was being too harsh. But no, it was cool. It wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest with you. Just came out of nowhere, and I felt like they kind of contributed more to her character in terms of her backstory, like where she came from and whatsoever. But I think when it came to the mother, it was cool. It was nice to like see them like get on the same page, even only having an episode worth of like telling about how their relationship was in the past. But we'll see more of Mama Smoke in season 4. Sadly, oh god, I'm not looking forward to that. But was I missing something? Oh yeah, how did we forget Laurel turning into Black Canary? How did we forget that? Like such a sentimental moment in the comics. How the fuck did we spend almost 40 plus minutes not talking about Laurel? We didn't talk about Laurel at all and she was there.
Well, going back to one of kind of my favorite lines with Felicity's mother, where she just kind of looks at like Ray Palmer. She goes, "How many billionaires do you know?" And Felicity just kind of doesn't have an answer.
No, two. That's not two.
Yeah.
I mean, unless she slept with Bruce Wayne, but I highly doubt that. But no, yeah. So, what did you think of Laurel this season? Like her becoming finally the Black Canary after like 3 seasons.
Obviously, it was. I don't know if it's because I've watched every season before, but it was something that was kind of like expected. Obviously, Laurel had been kind of training to fight, even though Oliver didn't want to teach her. So for her, it was about kind of this is her way of coping with her sister's death.
To become the next
to become what her sister was trying to accomplish, a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, because I mean, also Laurel I think also pulls it off a little bit better than Sarah does, just because you saw Laurel's background as a DA, constantly trying to help some people, and this was kind of Laurel's jump into
really getting in there.
Really doing even more than she already does, because as a DA she goes above and beyond to kind of help people, and this is kind of taking that a whole leap further.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, you're right. Yeah, no, they did the right direction. With her being mentored by Wildcat, another DC superhero, and then by Nyssa. I feel like she did get a lot of attention, but I don't know. Like there was something missing from her story. I think it was because now it was disconnected. Like her and Oliver weren't going to be together anymore, so you kind of are not going to get that famous Green Arrow, Black Canary romantic ship in the comics. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was kind of like I don't know why. I just don't know. Like I can't explain why it just didn't like. No, don't get me wrong. Katie Cassidy did a really great Black Canary. It's just there's something missing in my head that like it wasn't clicking. You know what I mean? Like it's just something that wasn't like organized. Like Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow in this one. Yes, he is. Laurel Lance is Black Canary. Yes, but it has like some hesitation on my front. Like it's taking a bit of time to accept. I don't know why. It could just be a me thing. I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I think Laurel's still kind of getting her footing as the Black Canary. It's one thing to train. It's another thing to kind of go out there and put your life on the line. Mm-hmm. So I think once Laurel, obviously towards the end of the season, she does. Or I guess not because of the whole thing with Ra's al Ghul, but the whole thing is I think once we get further into the show and that she becomes more not comfortable being the Black Canary, because I think she's there already, but she kind of once she takes like that like leap as a hero, like to where you're like, okay, she knows what she's doing out there, because like at points Oliver kind of points it out, like you just kind of like this is kind of why Oliver didn't want her out there, because she kind of even as a DA threw herself into danger. Obviously why she's feuding with her father outside of not telling him that
Sarah's dead. Yeah. That's kind of like a shitty choice. Mm-hmm. I know like they kind of bring up the fact like he had a heart attack, he has heart problems. I get that, but dude, come on, you can't really just expect to not tell the father, oh hey, your daughter died for real this time. Like you can't keep that in. Like that's like yeah, go on.
I think the right thing to do there would have been for her to sit him down and kind of break it slowly. Like, don't dump it on him, but, like, kind of break it to him slowly. But, yeah, you're right. He absolutely has a right to know. And he should have honestly been the first one told.
I think, did they wait till the end of the season? Like, the mid-season finale? Or did they, like, wait even longer than that? I think it was longer.
I think it was a little bit longer.
So more than half the season, just to, like, how much more can the guy take?
Because you also saw, and what I thought was interesting was Quentin disowning the Arrow.
Yeah, but that's when like Raish told him like this was like part of Raish's plan to like push Oliver to become El Haisai. You can't pronounce the fucking name. El
Sahim.
Al Sahim. That's the one. He was kind of pushing like, hey, look. I know who the Arrow is. He's been running for you the whole time. Oliver Queen's the Arrow. And I was like, okay. No. And it was also on top of, like, Raish pretending to be the Arrow to kind of, like, push public perspective of him to, like, to go back down the tube. So, Raish had a plan just to get Oliver, but then when he got Oliver, he was kind of like, nice, like, good. you're my pupil now.
Raises the arrow was kind of the most emotion that I kind of saw out of him, and it wasn't much emotion, but it was like pure anger and evil. That was really the only.
That's what you wanted to see.
That's what I wanted to see, and he looked pretty good in the costume too. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and then we had the fight between all the League of Assassins members in an arrow suit. That was really badass to see. What was I gonna say? Fuck, we missed. I think the I want to give attention to the characters before we get to the finale. Seeing Thea, Thea had a much more, like you said, she keeps growing her role as the series progresses so far. I think this is probably the biggest she's been involved in a conflict, because she is. Her father literally put her smack dab in the middle of this. Like, if it wasn't for you going with your dad, none of this would have happened.
Yeah,
none of this would have. You would not have given your father the ammo he needed to start this whole season long journey. And I think Thea handled it well. Also, kind of Thea became a badass this season. Let's just say that she really did. I think something began to peak when she got killed by Raish. Don't get me wrong, that fight scene with her and Raish in the apartment building, that was cool. But again, stunt double, man. I can't. Why couldn't the production designers or the makeup artists okay, wait, can we shave some of this beard off? Can we shave some of this beard just to make it more symmetrical? It kept bothering me. So cool fight scene, but it really bothered me. But anyway, I think once Fia went into the Lazarus pit, that's kind of where things started to really go into the finale. I don't know why, that's kind of where Thea kind of peaked for me. She wasn't really progressing more. She was kind of okay, I got partial amnesia. I'm kind of still remembering things. And then she just showed up in Roy's costume at the end of it. Was kind of okay.
Yeah. I mean, because then obviously I think that Oliver, you saw a lot about Felicity and Thea and Roy, but then Oliver Queen's training to become Ra's al Ghul kind of took over the whole show.
Yeah.
You kind of wondered, how's he going to handle it? And for me, I was wondering, is he really all in on being Ra's al Ghul? I kind of knew it wasn't that the case.
But for a good episode, they were convincing he's going to be the next Raish.
You kind of felt like he had no choice. And that he was kind of losing his memories as Ra's al Ghul wanted him to.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seemed like he was.
Yeah.
Again, Oliver Queen's such a great actor.
He's playing a Mel, absolutely.
No, I mean Oliver Queen as an actor. Oh. He was portraying that role of El Sahim very well. I guess we can go into the finale more. There was no badass fight scene between Raish and my opinion. So I think the Dark Archer fight at the end of season 1 was great. Slade and the bunker fight was the best one in my opinion. I can't really you can say the cliff was probably the best moment, but that stunt double, man, it really fucking ruins it for me. It really does. I'm sorry. I can't really give season 3 a proper get hype fight scene. I really can't give it that. In my opinion, at least. You can have your own different opinion, but
I didn't. I also didn't like the fights. I liked the moment of Oliver Queen getting stabbed and falling off the cliff. That's a great moment for me and a great shot.
But not the fight before it.
Yeah, not really. Well, I mean, I was kind of hyped up for the fight because of how much Oliver was
at stake.
I felt like he was saying he was going to win, but in his head he was I'm going to die.
He's going to lose. He cannot beat this man who's been training for centuries by this point. But, so, no, I can agree with you on that. But to kind of get into I'll say this, the escalation when Oliver officially, fine, I'll become your disciple. Also, did you notice that, so there was that weird out of place shot, well not really out of play, but kind of that scene where Raish is walking Oliver through his hometown, kind of a symbolism of eventually Oliver might have to do the same thing with Starling, he's got to destroy everything. Do you remember that? It was I think 2 episodes before the finale. And Ra's al Ghul just, I don't know why, whenever villains just name drop another villain, it's why does this have to do with the next season? Because all he says is I had a friend named Damien Dark. Why you gotta bring him up? Obviously we know he's gonna be the villain for season 4, we know that. We're not gonna talk about Damien yet. I don't want you to talk about anything about Damien, okay? I'm gonna do the Ra's thing from the cliffhanger. Did I heard you or no?
Damien Dark.
Damn you. But, anyway, I feel once we got to Oliver becoming, El Sahim, that was kind of where the show really started to become interesting again. You know, from Oliver finally having sex with Felicity after 3 seasons. Like, was that trending? Like, did you see those like videos like when it was really like Oliver and Felicity finally have sex? Like, was on your end? Was it like peaking or trending when it was like 20? Was it 2015? I want to say 2012, 2013. Yeah, 2015.
Yeah.
Like, was that popping up in your feed when it came out or no?
It probably was, but I don't really remember back then. Like, I don't remember too much about the show, way back then. The only thing I remembered was, like, the very first season when Oliver came home, but that's about all I remember from first time watching Arrow.
So it wasn't trending in terms of, like, you know, oh, here's these two characters in a TV show finally having sex.
Well, I mean, they were an iconic duo, so probably.
I got it on my feed, like, I don't know why. It was, like, towards graduation. I just got it out of nowhere. I'm like, cool. I'll probably never watch this show. Fast forward next year, I watched the show. But, actually, was it? Oh, no, fast forward later that year. Oh, no, wait. Wait, am I getting my timetables wrong? No, I'm right. I forgot. I'm a fucking dumbass. But, but no, like, when we reached, like, Oliver becoming El Sahim, and it was, like, that's when the show started to, like, really start to pick up again. Same with the flashback with the whole, like, oh, we got the Alpha Omega virus. That's all done. We can go home. And then it's like, nope, it's not over yet. You ain't done yet. We ain't far from done. But I think the moment that, I think the penultimate episode was better than the finale, in my opinion. Was, like, you understood the stakes, like, Team Arrow going to Pananarbal to go save Oliver. And then, like, thinking, like, we beat them. And then there's a whole army behind them. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Actually, no, wait, like, remember the scene where, like, 3 episodes earlier, they show up with Thea's body, and we just see the entire league behind Raish, and they're like, fuck. This is a threat. Well, this can't be a threat. But, and then, like, did you feel, like, for me, I felt a little uncomfortable with the whole Nyssa having to marry Oliver. That kind of bothered me a little bit.
Well, for me, it was Ra's al Ghul's another way that he could kind of tie Oliver to the League of Assassins. And it was also, for Ra's, I thought it was a way to kind of tame his daughter, which obviously kind of countered, backfired.
Yeah.
She became even more defiant. I think she said, I'd rather die than become his betrothed. Which was an epic line. And another thing that was really weird about this season was seeing Nyssa as, like, a normal person.
Oh, yeah, when
you got like an episode of her just going out to dinner with Laurel.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that was, like, cool, like, just to see her as a normal human being. Nothing but the garb. She's like, no, she's just a simple, ordinary, person with, of course, leak problems, but still. It was nice. It was nice to see, like, another side of her this season.
Imagine being best pals with somebody that kidnapped your mother.
Oh yeah,
remember that episode?
That wouldn't sit comfortably with me. But I don't know, like, I still remember that scene where Raish is, like, having dinner with Oliver and Nyssa before their wedding, and he's like, "Don't worry, my daughter. You will have the next important responsibility. You will bear me a grandchild.
Oh my god!
You will have sex with Oliver." But the thing that always, like, made me so, like, a little awkward. Well, for me it was awkward because like, that was, like, so bare, like, very direct. Like, once you marry Oliver, you will have sex with him, and you will bear me a grandchild to continue my name. Ra's al Ghul is over, but you're gonna continue the bloodline. Which for me, I was, like, kind of like, okay, I know arranged marriages are a thing. I know that's a thing, and I'm totally fine with that. But still, that was still a little bit harsh to say to your own daughter. Like, you're basically only treating her like you will just bear me another descendant in my line. That's basically kind of fucked up.
Well, for him, he kind of sees, like, a new role for her. Maybe he never saw her as next Ra's al Ghul, but this, for him, he's kind of treating his daughter like a chess piece. Okay, this is going to be your role in, kind of continuing the legacy of Ra's al Ghul.
Well, one of them.
Yeah.
Well, both of them, yeah. So it would be, Yeah, the grandson of the previous and the son of the new one. So yeah, yeah, no, you're correct on that. I don't know. Yeah, that scene kind of like just stood it. Like that kind of treats Rash as like he's kind of a harsh dude. He's not an evil dude, just a harsh dude.
Yeah, like a no nonsense type of guy where like he's kind of like one of those guys you don't want to see him get angry. But I would have, as a fan, I would have liked to see him get a little more angry.
Yeah, because he didn't really like. He was kind of like morally in the same vocal tone the whole season. Like he never really like. I don't remember. Did he ever raise his voice one time? I don't remember.
I don't remember. No, I don't think so.
He just stayed in the same tone, which is a good thing and a bad thing. So it's not a really. It's just. I would have loved for him to have more range.
Yeah, I mean, a guy who's lived for centuries, I'm sure he thought of Oliver as really no threat to him.
At the time.
Yeah, at the time. So that's kind of why he never really thought to, like, kind of put his guard up against Oliver.
Yeah.
Obviously that ends up costing him, but, that's kind of why.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, but then that really gets him fucked over eventually in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So the finale, I don't know why. Like, the finale was fine. I just didn't really like it. Like, no, I was like, let me backtrack. Like, it's a fine finale, but it wasn't as great as the last two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, there's a very toxic virus out there. Yes, but I don't think Team Arrow was ever like. I don't know why. Like, I don't feel the stakes. If you know what I mean. Because like the Mirror Crew army. Oh my God! You saw the reaction. Like, look, everyone's here. Everyone has to help. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone is here. We have Black Canary, we have Diggle, we have Dia in the Arsenal suit. We even have Malcolm. Yeah, we have them, but was he? No, Ray wasn't there. He was just working on the cure. But it was, I don't know. I never felt the stakes.
Yeah, Ray ends up showing up.
Yeah, Ray was there. I keep forgetting about Ray. Like, yeah, Ray was that cool character in the first time. He was like, meh.
Yeah.
You're gonna be on Legends, down the line. We'll see the character development for you in there. But no offense again, Brandon Routh, such a great actor. I just don't think he was given much to do this season past the first half.
Well, I mean, because I thought that growth was, or that time of growth was due to other characters who had been on the show since season 1. So, I mean, eventually you're right. Ray Palmer will get his time, just not this season. Although he did have a really cool moment where he saved Oliver.
Oh yeah,
in the finale, I think it was.
Actually, no. So it was. So yeah, let's build that moment. So when we get to the final fight scene between Oliver and Raish, I feel like the cliff scene was way better than the finale scene in my opinion. I think that was a better fight scene in my opinion. So for this one, I don't know why. Like, cause like Oliver had Ra's al Ghul training, so he kind of was more on par this time around. And even with that, like, I still liked the fight, but it wasn't like a very tense fight, like, oh, who's going to win? What's going to happen next? Like, I kind of knew Oliver was going to somehow beat him because this was the final fight of the season. So I was never personally a fan of it. So, and then when Oliver did the same technique against Raish to kind of like, kill him finally, like, grab the sword and then like do the same thing like through here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not sure if you felt that.
Okay,
that you felt. Seeing that was finally the moment. It's like, okay, we're finally done with the Raish. And I saw Raish's eyes when like Oliver was saying like enchanting that prayer that Raish did to him in the episode 9 finale. Like I forgot how the speech goes. Like, please watch over him in the next life or something like that. And Raish was like looking. I was like, yes, yo Raish, take my golden weirdly protruded ring. I don't fucking know. Sorry again. Sorry.
And then Oliver actually takes it, which is pretty cool.
Well, there's a reason for that. There's a reason. And then he defeats him, and then the police still want like being, oh, we don't know if he's the Arrow, so just shoot him. Yeah, sure, he may have defeated one of the guy, but he could have been the bad guy, so just shoot him. And then yes, the Atom shows up, but it's Felicity in the Atom suit, which kind of looks weird and dumb.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, it was Felicity. Yeah. You just watched the finale 3 days ago.
Well, I mean,
did you skip that? Did you just block that out?
Honestly, that was a little big for Felicity so far. I mean, she really did look awkward in that suit. But
yeah, she did. Especially coming after the episode before Oliver went off to do the Ra's al Ghul stuff when he and Ray had to team up because the last thing we'll go before we end, we forgot to talk about Roy. Because I know you said like, oh, Roy has such a big important thing this season that we just did not mention him at all.
Well, I mean, obviously his big important thing was
he becomes Arsenal.
Yeah.
Becomes the Red Arrow. Basically.
Yeah.
No, but he was cool. He was cool to see. I think he was like finally giving Oliver a sidekick, like kind of like another Archer. Definitely made fight scenes a little bit more, interesting.
Yeah, because Diggle, like, you can do a lot with John Diggle, a guy who's had so much experience in the army. But obviously, when it comes to like Oliver's been fighting like archers, and obviously just Diggle can't really stand up to them too well.
Now we have another Archer.
Yeah.
So Roy was kind of like the Robin of the group. Like he was kind of like he's not as serious as the hero, but he was like
he was kind of there. Like he was kind of finally becoming Oliver's apprentice.
Not another Diggle, just like an apprentice. But yeah, did you like the way he was kind of like written off? Like, oh, he just gives himself up to be the Arrow so that Oliver has another chance to like fight another day.
No, yeah, because I thought it was a good kind of comeback story. Roy, somebody who struggled with getting arrested for petty crimes, he was a guy who really felt like he had to make up for killing a police officer under the influence of Mirakuru. And it was something that was really bothering him. And also one of the heartwarming things was when him and Thea, like, he shows Thea, like, yeah, I bring the guy's family, like, presents and stuff and groceries. Obviously, he feels really bad. It was really horrible that it happened, although he had no control over it.
But he still feels responsible. It's still his body, still his, actions to an extent.
Yeah.
So he's doing the most responsible thing out of it.
So he did, I guess he did what he thought was kind of his penance, like his punishment, rather than go to jail. Or he did go to jail, but he helped Oliver in the process.
To give him another time to fight.
And then also, by doing that, he again got Oliver exonerated from being the Arrow. Again. Yeah.
Not the first time it happened, won't be the last. But yeah, I kind of felt sad that, cool way for Roy to go. I didn't want...
Yeah, with the way that they did it with the knifing.
Yeah, like that, like brutal. Not brutal, like that, just the prison fight scene. I felt sorry because I didn't want to say goodbye to the actor. It wasn't, ready for him to go. I mean, I read online why he left. He was just kind of feeling confined doing the show. Like he wanted to be a little bit more like open to do something else, but he couldn't while on the show, which I respect. I mean, actors are allowed to do what they want with their careers. I just didn't want to see Roy go. I wanted to see him like continue to develop with Team Arrow, but I mean, we got Thea to be Arsenal next season, so it'll still be there. Oh my god, how did we forget this? I want to get your opinion on this. What did you think of the Deathstroke return episode?
The what?
The Deathstroke return episode.
Oh yeah, I thought it was interesting. It was obviously a big plot by Malcolm Merlin
to train them.
But I thought like, okay, this is how much they've grown. Slade escaped, and rather than have a whole repeat of season 2, they actually stop him right away.
Yeah, but there's a downside to that. I feel like the problem for me, and this is like I think one of the criticisms season 3 gets, like I remember the negative feedback to this episode so harshly, because everyone was like, Slade was the big bad of season 2. They took a whole season to beat him, and he was taken out with the assistance of a girl who just started training like not that long ago. That was kind of, and I felt that too, because like, think about it, man. Like, he was by currently in our current standards, he is so far the best villain of Arrow so far. And he gets beat in half an episode when it took a whole season to beat him. I mean, come on.
Well, he didn't have other resources.
But
it's Slade, yeah.
I
think the idea was that Slade had a lot of time to prepare the first time, and then obviously he wasn't expecting to see Oliver the second time, so he didn't have as much time to prepare. Because like his plan in season 2 was well thought out every single step of the way because of how much time he had. This time he didn't really get that, although he still for me posed a bigger threat to Oliver than Ra's al Ghul did
in one episode.
Just because of evil intentions that Slade obviously has for Oliver and his sister,
Mhm.
and then he killed their mother. So I thought that was huge. Yeah, I didn't like that Slade Wilson kind of got done dirty like that.
He
Kinda
was, yeah.
taken out. Yeah, but it was a necessary step again for Oliver to
train Thea.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but they could have used any other villain.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I felt sorry. Like, that's why Manu Bennett, like, he did confirm that, yeah, he didn't come back for Arrow for the longest time because they did him dirty like that. Because, like, this was supposed to be this badass character, this, like, strong character in the DC universe, and he gets taken down by a 19-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be honest. When you're reading it like that, you gotta be honest. He did the right thing for a while. But we will see him again someday.
Mm-hmm.
Someday.
Thea finally got her revenge from Slade kidnapping her and for killing her mother.
I guess, but I think this would have been more beneficial as a two-parter, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just to get kind of like not say like, oh, he got beat in one episode, he got beaten in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Just to like get. Plus, I think it was too soon to like bring him back.
Yeah.
I feel like they had like the race stuff like itself and then put him back in season 4 just like as a reminder like, oh, Oliver beat him. It's been a while. How does Oliver deal with him with some more improved training? I would have been interested to see that, but having him come back so soon, I don't know. For me, I feel like that was too soon, the episode. But
yeah, I thought maybe instead of doing Slade versus Oliver, Malcolm Merlin could have tried to not, obviously he wouldn't go with the intention of killing them rather than just training them, which is the whole point of why he let Slade go. But I thought it could have been the Dark Archer attacking Oliver and Thea,
and then have Deathstroke just come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would have been a cool like team up fight scene and then like a versus fight scene between the villain. That would have been cool.
Yeah,
that was a cool idea. To be honest with you,
I want to see Thea versus Malcolm, like a big brawl.
We had training. Did they ever have, or we?
Well, they did training, but I'm talking about like an actual fight scene between the two of them.
Was that in season 4 or no? Or am I just misinterpreting? I don't think it was.
I don't know. I have to start watching season 4
when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
So wrapping up season 3, having Oliver and Diggle like kind of like not be on good terms. Like he was like cool. Like Oliver and Felicity were gonna leave, start a new life together, and then Diggle was like, cool. You deserve to be happy. I'm not happy with you, but you deserve to be happy.
Diggle kind of really shoved it in Oliver's face there. And because he's got a reason to be upset, although he really knows, I think he knows deep down why it had to happen. But at the same time, how could you be happy with that? How could you work with the guy that broke into your house, kidnapped your wife in front of your baby girl?
Yeah.
There's no way especially for a guy with as much honor as John Diggle has,
to have an easy forgiveness.
So obviously, we'll see in this season 4 how their relationship. Obviously, I think that they'll become friends again, but
it's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be quite a while, yeah.
Yeah, because you wouldn't but for example, you would not forgive me that easily if I kidnapped your girlfriend or something in front of your dog, because you don't have a daughter yet, but maybe you will. Who knows? But no, I think this season definitely left some more things open ended because I feel like they knew season 4 was gonna happen because we had Malcolm become the new Ra's al Ghul at the end. So it turns out this entire time, just to continue the whole giant plot scheme of the season, so Malcolm, at the end of the day, got what he wanted. He became the new Ra's al Ghul.
Mm.
That was very do you really think the League was that accepting? I have the ring, I'm the new Ra's al Ghul. You need to listen to me now. I was like, really? I mean, for about a month or so, they just saw Oliver being trained, and then all of a sudden Malcolm's back and he's the new Ra's al Ghul. Wasn't that kind of a little bit sus for you? Or do you think the League was like, fuck it, he's our new leader?
Well, I mean, the thing that bodes well, I guess, for Malcolm is the 500-something people that he killed. So people, the League of Assassins, obviously being what they were, kind of looked at that and probably said, okay, you clearly have the evil intentions in you
to be the leader.
Yeah, obviously Oliver Queen's not going to be the leader. Ra's al Ghul's dead.
Nyssa was, I think, no. I think they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had the ring, so that was kind of validation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because it gets weird. If they're all about tradition, I mean, wouldn't that mean Malcolm would have to go back and destroy Star City or Starling City? So that would have, I mean, I don't think they wanted to like really push the league down more in season 4, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. The Black Canary and Diggle kind of becoming their own thing now that Oliver's kind of leaving again.
Mm-hmm.
But was it weird, like, for your opinion, like, had Arrow just ended with Oliver and Felicity just riding off to the sunset, would you have found that to be a decent finale? Like, at least a series finale, like, if that was, like, the end. Would you have been comfortable with that, even though, like, there were some things unresolved?
Like the end of the whole show, or like the
Like,
season?
what if, let's say, hypothetically, Arrow just ended, like, canceled, ended with season 3? Would you have been fine with Oliver and Felicity just riding off into the sunset?
It would have been not really, because Oliver leaving in season 3 kind of really for me was like, okay, the guy's leaving again. We've seen this act before. This is kind of not how a hero is supposed to go down.
Yeah, just leave your city.
Yeah, just kind of leave the city. I get why he was doing it. He was trying to get away, but not really like a hero's ending that you'd kind of expect.
We know it wasn't the end. We knew it wasn't the end, but
Yeah.
it was like, let's just say it just ended there. Like that would not have been like
I think that would have been lowly rated.
Yeah. I feel like that's why the finale just doesn't sit well with me that well. I mean, it's a good finale. I feel like they ended it as best they could with the race stuff. Definitely leaving the door open for other future avenues to take. But no, for me, I feel like the finale was fine.
Well, I think that as a season finale, it's fine because it gives Diggle and Oliver a break in their relationship. Because obviously, if they had gone just right back to working together, it kind of would have made no sense, as in terms of the conflict between the two.
Yeah, they needed some separation period, which I think will bode well whatever. I forgot how season 4 went because I'll be honest with you, Sal. I blocked so much out of that. I blocked it out, and I got to reopen that again. It's like, fuck. But I think that's it for our recap. Let's rank the bad guy, Sal. I was gonna have a theme song, but I don't have a theme song. All right, Sal. So right now, I rank the bad guy. Rank the big bad. Number 1, Slade Wilson. Number 2, Malcolm Merlin / the Dark Archer. What do you rank Ra's al Ghul in this current rank up of villains?
Well, especially after that last shot that we saw with Malcolm Merlin, where he's like, I am the new Ra's al Ghul. I would definitely have to put the original Ra's al Ghul third, just because obviously the lack of emotion outside of like the 5 minutes that he was the Arrow. Yeah, the whole thing with him is he really just didn't capture me. What captured me more was Oliver's plan to try to trick Ra's, which he obviously did, up until the plane ride.
Yeah.
But for me, the Ra's al Ghul himself, despite being the high title that he is, didn't impress me as much as Slade Wilson, who had that huge plan building up for years and years, and then obviously Malcolm Merlin being as merciless as they come. So I think Malcolm Merlin's definitely second. Slade Wilson's first just because I love the character. And then Ra's al Ghul third because of, well, the way it was written for him. Yeah.
I feel I have to agree with you on that. He just didn't do much. Like, yeah, he's supposed to be this intimidating for, which I guess he is, but for me, he wasn't.
You kind of see Oliver's the big bad for a little while. At least you think you do. Because like I said, there was a little while where I was like, what you doing, Oliver?
Why
are you locking up your friends?
What you in that suit for, that darker suit?
That actually did look good on him.
It did. It actually did. They did a really good job on the design. But even with that was still a pretty good fight. That was still pretty good. That was still pretty good suit. I was trying to say. I don't know what the fuck I was trying to say. More than bad. Yeah. Let's rank them. Let's rank the seasons properly. So right now we have number 1, season 2, and number 2, season 1. Where do you rank season 3?
I would definitely rank season 3 third, just because I really loved season 2, and then season 1 for me will always be like the best season because of like the flashbacks, and then just the whole thing. I loved Tommy Merlin as a character.
R.I.P.
Yeah, obviously, and then just the whole thing with Quentin Lance and Oliver, especially when he accuses Oliver of being the arrow the first time, and then the way Oliver goes about handling it, I thought, in that first time that Quentin kind of tried to paint him as the arrow, which he was obviously right.
Yeah.
But I thought Oliver did, it was a pretty cool way for Oliver to kind of get around it.
No, I think, in my opinion, no, I agree with you on that. So for in your personal ranking, it's 1, 2, 3, right, in that order?
It is 2, 1, 3.
Oh, okay, because like the way that I prefer season 1 is my favorite. That's why you said it. That's what I was ringing in his ass. I've been debating this in my head for so long since, again, you took your time. No offense, you were taking your sweet time with season 3. I was thinking in my head, like, what did I want to rank this? And I want to. There's points where like I like it better than season 1, but then there's like some points where it's like, well, no, season 1's actually better. I don't know, like it's so hard. Like I feel like at the end, I have to agree with you. I think season 1 is just better, than season 3. I think it was more it flowed more naturally than season 3. Well, I think season 3 is not bad. We're not saying it's a bad season just because right now it's the bottom of our list. It's not the worst. Believe me, we might get to that. But it's not the worst. It's definitely not the worst season. It's definitely not as great as season 2, and I think most aspects of season 1. So I think I would have to agree with it. I think it's at the bottom right now. So we're in agreement. Season 3 is number 3.
Absolutely.
All right. So our current rankings, if you were kind of confused by that, number 1, season 2. Number 2, season 1, and number 3, season 3. We'll see.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes from season 2, I guess, parallels. The reason why it puts it over the top for me is the parallel between the bunker fight when Oliver obviously stabs Slade in the eye with the arrow, and then what Oliver does at the end of the present day timeline where he just locks Slade up.
Yeah.
So he knows where Slade is now, and there's no way for Slade to escape.
Yeah.
Outside of course, Malcolm letting him go, but
besides that,
Yeah, there's no way for Slade to get away himself. Whereas Oliver just kind of stabs Slade, and yeah, I kind of expected him to be dead too, but obviously Slade does end up surviving and getting out from under the beam or whatever he was stuck under.
No, I think the water pressure just like lifted him out, and then he floated somewhere in the sea, the Mediterranean Sea. I think, I don't know. I don't know how they explained that, but yeah, that's our current rankings. So to kind of wrap this up, season 3 on a very, at least for us, a tight bow. No pun intended. Where do you rank where do you personally rank season 3? Like, where do you rate it? Rate it as, like, out of your personal rating scale, like out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever your rating system is. What would you rate this as overall? Just as its own independent thing.
Overall, I would say I'm caught between a 3.5 and a 4.
Out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. I guess I'll go with the 3.8 because like I said, the season started off a little slow for me, but I definitely like to see a lot of what they did with like Thea, and you got introduced to like Lazarus Pit, which me having watched future seasons, I know that it obviously comes back for a bigger role. So yeah, that's kind of why, but it starts off a little slow. The big bad's kind of unintimidating, but I'll give it nearly a 4 because you kind of got to see
the character,
Evil Oliver.
Yeah, and give the character like more to expand on their journeys, even with the very shaky villain plot.
Maceo too was kind of the whole relationship between Maceo and Oliver changed the further and further you got into the flashbacks. So,
and then even in the present day stuff. So no, yeah, you're right. I would. No, I agree with you on all your points. For me, I would probably give this 1 thumb and a half. Maybe like, can I do the angle? Can I do it like a thumb and like a quarter? I think I would have to give it that. I wouldn't give it a half. I don't think it's not bad. That's the thing we're trying to say. It's not a bad season, but it's not disappointing. But it's not like it's lackluster in some aspects. Yeah, I think that's how I would rate it. I just felt like, yeah, the villain stuff did not entice me as much as I should have. The fight scenes were great, but not as great as, previous fight scenes. And definitely the character direction and the character developments and the journeys we saw this season, with our heroes, both old and new, it definitely did save the season a lot. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think this season would have been rated much lower in my books if it wasn't for them. But yeah, so there you go. That's our thoughts on, finally, after 2 weeks from me, I'm sorry, so on season 3. So with that being said, I think that's gonna do it for us. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you've been unaware, this has been What's in the Tube, reviewing every Arrow season. Before I end off my usual rigmarole, Sal, pimp your shite.
So yeah, I got my sports podcast for anybody that might be interested in that. It's called Sports in the Big Apple. I also started writing Sports in the Big Apple on Instagram. I also started writing articles for thesportuniverse.com and lkwriting.com. So a couple of interesting things. I just did a Monday Night Football, or I guess since this isn't going to be out, I won't really mention that, but I will continue to write plenty of articles, a few articles a week on both those sites, as well as I have to plan out my next podcast. Hopefully it will be recording tomorrow, or
this is going to be posted. Yeah, no, oh shit, I forgot. This is getting posted on this Tuesday when we're recording this. This is going out pretty quickly.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
Dude, it's been 2 weeks since season 2's review came out, right?
Yeah. All right, so my podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcast, and Libsyn.com. So check it out there. Again, at Sports in the Big Apple. It's a lot of fun. Back to you, Joe.
Okay, thank you, Sal. Yeah, cool thanks on the article. I didn't get to, message you or anything, but no, cool job on the articles. I haven't read any of them yet because, again, I'm not into sports. But I will try and make an effort to read them at some later point. But don't worry about that. I'm gonna pull your hair.
I liked how I really get to play with the word choice, like the way I kind of try to pull people in by the way I kind of begin the articles.
I'll have to read them, see how that is. I think they're on your Instagram, right? So you posted links to them. Mm-hmm. You post a lot of shit on your Instagram, by the way. The sports one, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I try to keep up daily content.
Daily? You mean hourly content? I'm kidding, man. Can I follow you on there? It's fine. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube. If you want to know what we're doing overall on What's in the Tube, besides our Arrow season reviews, we are doing every Doctor Who series review each and every other week. Me and George are reviewing every series of Doctor Who. Right now, we're doing the first half, just Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant. We are currently, I think we just uploaded... No, we just uploaded series 2 on Halloween, so check that out if you want to see how me and George thought of that. We'll be back next week for the series 3 review, and that's each and every other Saturday. But if you want to just hear me talk about random shows now and then, we are doing Quick Impressions, where it's my sub-series where I just talk about shows I watched during the pandemic. They're fill-ins to when we're not doing an Arrow season review or a Doctor Who series reviewed. So if you want to go check them out, they post whenever we're not posting an Arrow Doctor Who stuff. I just did one for Seinfeld. I did one for Young Sheldon. The next one on the list for this Saturday is Gravity Falls. So if you're curious on any of those, check them out. They'll be going live pretty soon. But if you only care about Arrow, then you're in luck. We'll be back in, sadly now, 2 weeks to review Arrow Season 4. Oh, fucking boy. I am not looking forward to that. Can we skip this season? Can we skip it?
No.
Fuck. I don't want to. I don't remember many good things about Season 4. We were Sal, I'll be honest with you. We were very generous with Season 3. We're very generous people. We're like the two generous people I know. And we're going to Season 4. I'm not gonna... Please let me skip it. I want to skip it.
No.
Yeah, fine. We'll be back in 2 weeks to review.
Oliver already missed 5 years of his life. You can't miss one more.
What do you mean? I didn't miss anything. I mean, I watched the... Fine, we'll watch Season 4. God, that'll be live in 2 weeks, hopefully. I'm going to start binging that tonight because the 23 episodes of pure hell. Oh, God. So you'll have to give me constant updates if you're going to die during the season or not. I have not heard that many great things about season 4.
We'll see.
We'll see. Will Damien Dark save the day? I don't fucking know.
Oh, Damien.
I don't know. Neil McDonald hopefully will save the day. But that'll be season 4 in 2 weeks. Hopefully we're still alive by the end of watching it to us to record the review. Hopefully, if I'm dead or Sal's dead, but by then we'll message each other beyond the grave and we'll figure out if we're ready for season 5. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube by ActionX. If you want to see more of What's in the Tube, especially our Arrow season coverage, please subscribe to ActionX on youtube.com. Ring the bell for notification when our next video is live, our next review, which will be in 2 weeks, as well as follow us on Twitter to be up to date on updates and such on our shows and our videos, as well as follow us on Twitch. I'm trying to stream there more often. Haven't done it in the past couple weeks because life stuff got in the way. I'm going to try and stream this weekend, but I got a lot of other shows and shit to do. But again, for you Arrowheads, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be good to each other, especially with Election Day coming up. Please go out and vote. I think I should delay this episode by a day for the election, you think? To let people vote? This would come out on Tuesday.
I mean, I'm sure.
I mean, this was backlogged anyway.
Yeah.
This is probably going to get posted after election. So I hope you voted. I hope you voted for Biden, or actually, Dan, I don't want to get political. Vote whoever you feel right for, but please vote for someone very much of a leadership. Anyway, enough with the political aspect. Please go support Sal on Sports in the Big Apple. Please support him on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, the Lip Sync. Is Lip Sync?
Libsyn.
Libsyn. Sounds like Lip Sync.
Mm-hmm.
Lip Sync. And read his articles. Go support him there. He's done an incredible amount of work so far on this channel and on his own personal front. But so please enjoy him there. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Be good to each other. Stay safe out there. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. So, peace out.
Thanks for listening.